Morning, Fractal Effects team. Please make sure you read the disclosure before we get started. If you're following along with us, make sure you do in a demo account, as this is for educational purposes only. We are not financial advisors, and this is not financial advice. Let's jump onto the charts. So we had some news drop today. Just at 10 o'clock Eastern Standard. So we're looking at US oil here on the left. And US 500, S&P, CFD contract. So we had a bit of a mixed bag with US 500. We had an upside expansion model, and then we broke twice to the downside. So this was more in alignment with a mixed model sell bias. And then we broke the top of the manipulation first, all in one leg, created a fair value gap. So our bias is bearish right now. We have a red box. We're waiting for a bearish confirmation. We might get this early retracement. We're under the blue. So essentially we'd like to bounce off the blue and off the 20 EMA, this area, and then get our bearish confirmation. But we're waiting for that confirmation first. And we have the new week opening gap sitting right under us. Still got about 5 minutes for range formation. What is going on here? So with US oil, we had a buy model. And then as far as the spotlight strategy, we had a contraction model. Asia was a tight range. And then during a contraction model, what you'll see usually is the market coil up and then spring back and forth. Like that. And as far as the manipulation move, we manipulated up. There's the bottom of the manipulation range with oil. And I believe the top is somewhere in here. Remember, the indicator paints it out for you. There it is. So we manipulated up, all in one clean leg, no double break. Created a 5M fair value gap. Now technically the market should be going short from here, but again, we're going to wait for confirmation this late in the game. Let's see if we get that sell-off from this fair value gap. We're also at the blue zone. So even though we had a buy model, you want to mix that with your spotlight indicator. So spotlight, using the spotlight, we have a contraction model and a buy model back to back. We're bouncing off the purple zone originally. And the NWOG, sorry, the NDOG is right there, the new day opening gap, the aqua line. Let's see what happens now. About 3 minutes for range formation. US 500 also pushing down. Remember, today is Tuesday. Usually, if we're bullish, the market likes to set the lows on Tuesday. So there's Monday's low. Actually, sorry, that was Asia. Where's Monday's lows? Monday's lows are all the way down there, that yellow line. So if we get a bearish confirmation here, we got quite a ways to go. Oil, again, bouncing off that New York fair value gap, which also happens to be our 5M bearish fair value gap after we broke up. So the manipulation move up, swept out the highs. Now see if the market wants to push down and take out lows, equal relative lows here. So our range is fully formed now. Now we're just waiting for a confirmation. We do have a lot of news dropping. Tomorrow is non-farm payroll employment change. And then Thursday we have unemployment claims. And then Friday is your non-farm payroll, unemployment rate, average hourly earnings, all that. It's a pretty heavy news week. Proceed with caution. That's why we're looking at oil today. But US 500 looks much cleaner than NAS. Ideally, I'd be watching NAS over here and US 500 over here just for the divergence. Remember, the divergence helps even with the breaks. For example, if you get a double break or you get a break of the manipulation range on one and not the other, that helps with divergence, lets you know that the market wants to push. If one market wants to push, it's going to drag the other one. So let's see if oil pushes down, takes out the bottom of that manipulation range, sweeps out these lows. This is a perfect example of equal relative lows. They're all sitting right at that manipulation line. Remember, when it comes to equal relative lows or highs, you want to make sure they're either all lined up or they're staggered, meaning like, sorry, they're staggered like that, for example. That means each one was just above the other and they didn't actually sweep. So the market's more inclined to come down and sweep them. When you see equal relative, or people call these equal relative highs, like say something like that, that's not really an equal relative high, right? Each one's swept the previous one. So then it technically can go up at any point if it wants to. Market hates straight lines. Remember that. The algorithm itself wants to go in and sweep that area. US 500 still climbing, making its way up to that 20 EMA. There's a fair value gap in here. Let's see if it makes it all the way to the blue zone or bounces off this 20. But I'd like to get a bearish confirmation here. There's technically even equal relative lows right here. With the contraction model, the market likes to go back and forth, sweeping. So we've already swept out this high here. It would make sense that it wants to take out these lows, London lows, bounce from here. Again, just waiting for confirmation. Once we get that bearish confirmation, if we get that bearish confirmation, we'll wait for that retracement. Should be a fair value gap that forms in here, and then we'll follow that down to London lows. But just gotta wait and see. Right now we're getting some strong reaction. This 5M fair value gap. Pretty much everything is right here. There's a lot of confluence here. We got the 5M, we got the blue zone. We got the 5M bearish fair value gap right there, which also happens to be our New York opening gap. And we rejected that, so it only makes sense that it wants to keep pushing down. We're already red now on the 1M. Let's see if we can turn the 5M red. And then hopefully the 15 by the time we get our bearish confirmation and retracement. Getting a bit of a push now. Let's see if this sticks. As mentioned before, people always ask, like, if you know it's going to go down from here, why can't you take that sell? Sticking to the rules. Remember, we only use the blue zone strategy until the spotlight strategy is fully formed. Then we respect the spotlight strategy. This is an older strategy. It is way more back tested. 2 decades worth of aggregate data that we have. Just following the blue strategy again from the morning, we had technically a buy model. Market came down, manipulated up, but there was a blue zone right there, so there wasn't much room. Manipulated up first. Ideally, we would have liked to have seen it manipulate down first at NYC Open. That would have let me know that I wanted to go up. So it was a mixed bag in the morning. A lot of back and forth here without actual, like somebody could have caught this, but this didn't follow any of our rules. Remember, when you have a bullish model, you want the market to manipulate either down first, break the manipulation zone to the bottom first, or have a double break in the direction of your bias. So we didn't have a double break. We just had one consecutive leg, which means we have to respect the first 5M fair value gap that's created. Either respect that or just avoid that trade altogether. If inside you're like, this is going to go up, then just avoid it. Don't take the sell from there. Trust your gut. Still just waiting on that bearish confirmation. Still waiting for US 500. US 500 now doing a deep retracement before confirmation. We're right back at that blue zone. Deep, deep retracement. Punching past the blue zone here. Let's see what happens. Where's previous day's low? Oh yeah, sorry, it's all the way down there. So we did tap the new week opening gap. Just tapped it. That is a deep, deep retracement. Ideally, we'd like to see it close below the blue zone and then continue pushing down to give us that bearish confirmation. We're getting a lot of confirmations right now across multiple assets. GBP USD, Aussie, New Zealand, but because of the news drop, I'm more inclined to see where oil goes. Let's take a look at, we can take a look at GBP USD over here on the US 500 as it's might be pushing back up. Upside expansion model, mixed model sell. Let's check out GBP USD. Actually, let's check out Aussie New Zealand. Okay, so we got a bearish confirmation, sell model, upside expansion model. So we had an upside expansion model, turned sell model. Let's see which range. And then we broke the top of the manipulation range. Do we have a double break? No, clean. First fair value gap created. Not tapped though, second. So this is where you could have taken it technically. There's that previous day's low. Or is that just? That's the Asia range, so we just swept Asia. Most likely heading down to the NWOG. Sorry, the N, I guess that's both. NDOG and NWOG, one on top of the other. Looks like a good area. Let's turn on our standard deviations. One standard deviation right there at the bottom. So this would be a good area. I want to see it touch the 20. Since it hasn't touched the 20, that wasn't really a crossover. So they were running parallel and then it just dipped. So technically it has been, it did touch the 20. So either I want to see a create a fair value gap, or I want to see how it reacts right here at the purple zone. It might just wick here and continue down. Again, that's Aussie New Zealand. So 31 seconds left. Let's see if this fair value gap stays open. Most likely it will. This becomes my area of interest. But your risk to reward has to make sense. So if I did enter, let's say here, my stop loss would have to be at the last high, which is here, this candle. Not sure if we're going to be able to eke out a 1 to 3. One standard deviation is right here. It's 2.2. Let's see how high we'd have to get in. 2.91. Okay. Purple zone. Purple zone is the better entry. Let's see if it gets up here. And then we get that 1M fair value gap. This would be a good area for it to drop. And if it keeps running without us, that's fine too. Remember, always wait for the market to come to you. We don't chase. We stalk. That's different. Stalking is not chasing. You ever seen a lion in the Serengeti stalking? He's watching. He's waiting for the right opportunity. But he's not chasing. Oil still just consolidating back and forth right here under the blue zone. Got a lot of areas right here, a lot of zones. There's your blue zone, NYC fair value gap, but then we got a purple zone right here. And if I'm not mistaken, I think that might be London. Yeah, it's London's fair value gap. So it's playing both sides right now with a darker, stronger blue zone down here. And a purple zone. A lot of zones here. So in order for it to cut through here, that is a high liquidity run here. Still waiting and watching for that confirmation on oil. If it continues to do this, it should turn the 5M red. Aussie New Zealand given the 20 EMA time to come down further. Let's see if it does come back up here into the purple, tap that, and then drop. Otherwise, there's no room here. If it just keeps running from here to, remember, our goal is 1 standard deviation. There's previous day's low down here, that yellow line. So it could get all the way down there, but ideally 1 standard deviation is the low-hanging fruit. So we want to make sure we get a good entry though. Let's see if oil starts pushing down now. We want oil to drop, and we want Aussie New Zealand to come up and come into our zone here. I never set buy limits, by the way. I need to see it first come into my zone and then drop down to a smaller time frame and see if it wants to push. That's why we're called fractal effects. Fractals on all different time frames. It has to match up. It has to match up on the 5, the 1, and the 15. I want to see that it's all in alignment and it all wants to go in the same direction. There are people that set buy limits, thinking as soon as the market taps my zone, it's going to drop or I'll get a good entry. Yeah, but if you just drop down to the 1M, you'll see it never created a bearish fair value gap for you to enter. It just kept going up and up and up. Just wait it out. If you don't have time to wait it out, then you set an alert. At least that way you know when it's entered your zone. Then you come back to the charts and see what's happening. Oil, still just a bunch of consolidation, taking its sweet time. I still think it wants to drop, take out these lows, but we'll see. Just waiting for confirmation on oil. This is supposed to be the safer market today, but there's, again, this is a high resistance liquidity run. There's a lot of resistance in between here, a lot of levels that it has to clear, and it will continue to bounce off of them, accumulating new orders, engineering new liquidity before it finally pushes in any direction. Okay, Aussie New Zealand now pulling up. Okay, so we've tapped that fair value gap. Now I'm going to drop to the 1M. I'd still like to see it come up to the purple zone. Remember, hit a fair value gap, create a fair value gap. We have a small fair value gap up in here. Sorry, I just want to see on the 5M. There you go. Purple zone, beautiful. Now I want to see it create a bearish fair value gap. Or let's see if it wants to go higher into this fair value gap. Now we did violate this fair value gap. We closed above it. I don't like seeing that. Sometimes that lets you know that it wants to push up higher. On the 1M, there's a deep magenta fair value gap. I mean, purple zone here. Remember, the darker the zone, the stronger it is. So there's a 1M one right here. Could want to go tap that and this fair value gap. Then maybe bounce off the 238. So just being patient, but this is looking good. The higher it goes, the better our RR is. So I'd rather get in up here than down here anyways. Oil now below the purple zone and below London's fair value gap, but it still has the N dog, the blue zone, and another purple zone under it. So it could just gesticulate back and forth here. Still waiting. Bearish fair value gap. And if it doesn't give us that and it keeps pushing up, I'd like that. I want it to hit this and this. Fair value gap gives us more room. Oil still consolidating, engineering new liquidity, people going low from here, sorry, short, and then people going long from here. My bias is still that it's going to cut through, take out these lows, give us a bearish confirmation, and then most likely take out London lows. But I'm waiting. This might be our bearish fair value gap on the 1M. Remember, my stop loss would still be up here. This is the last high. So let's see if this sticks. 15 seconds. Just got to be patient. We want to see if this fair value gap now stays open, so one more minute. "42 seconds. "10 seconds. This fair value gap is left open. Now I want to see a tap. Change colors here. If we go up to the 5M here for a second. 1 minute left for the 5M candle to close. We obviously want to see it close below this purple. It's pulling back up into it. I could still go up higher and tap this, but now we need to proceed with caution. I want to see the market close under here. Let's see a candle body close across this. It's a good indication that it wants to continue to push down now. Oil, still a whole bunch of nothing. Looks like it wants to make one more swipe possibly. Let's see. 25 seconds left. We'd like to see it push down from here, but still a part purple zone right there. 5M fair value gap here as well, even though it has tapped all of these. 5 seconds. Remember, stop losses up here. So it just took that high. I'm no longer looking here. It's hitting that purple zone, hitting this fair value gap again. Just a random doji candle here with a gap. Now, unfortunately, this is the kind of price action you can expect on weeks like this, ahead of non-farm payroll, but it is what it is. So now I just took those highs. Most likely going to bounce off the 238. Let's jump back up to the 5M. Making its way all the way to the 50 here. Deep retracement. Let's get rid of this for now. We're back up at the purple zone here, blue zone. There's your NYC fair value gap. That is a deep, deep retracement. Getting a wick there now. See what's happening on the 1M. Let's see if this fair value gap stays open or if it just continues up. Nope, closed it off immediately. Still going up. Back up to the 5. Making its way all the way to the opening gap. Blue zone opening gap. Now if this thing takes out the top here, takes out this high, then we're done looking at this market. See, oil has not given us a confirmation. Let's jump over to US 500. Actually gave us a bullish confirmation. Interesting. But see, this is the kind of market you have today. Broke, came all the way down, didn't even touch the end, bounced off the NWOG, but barely, like it barely even touched it. Let's check NAS here for a second. Same thing. Look at all this back and forth. Could have found a trade setup in like any of this, but this was ridiculous. It was because of the news. Got about 15 minutes left in our stream. A lot of back and forth. If this breaks, and we're done looking at this market, but I'm sure they're all like that today. Pretty much just frozen there at the blue zone. Not really giving us anything. Let's take a look at oil again. Still stuck there, no confirmation on oil. Let's take a look at GBP USD, one of the other ones that confirmed. We had a bullish confirmation. Buy model with a low sweep. New York fair value gap. Quick retracement. Confirmation retracement back into, we had a blue zone right there as well. Into this fair value gap. And then just took off. Most likely heading to take out London highs. And WOG. Let's switch back to Aussie New Zealand. Still pushing through. Let's see what happens. Second it takes this high, we're done looking at this market. So today was one of those interesting days where the market faked to both sides. Faked up, wanted to go down, and it did. It swept out the lows. Remember, the second it sweeps, it's technically done. So it did take out Asia lows. But then immediately it went back up. And that's pretty much across all markets. Same thing. We manipulated up. Just waiting for this low. We manipulated up first. Came back down, took out the lows, and then came back up. So as soon as it manipulates, all it really has to do is take out the lows here. But with NAS, it did not set the low for the week. That was the daily low from previous day down here. with the 1 hour fair value gap. Interesting. But again, you can expect days like this. Now we're green across the board. We're still stuck there, Aussie New Zealand. 10 minutes left in our stream. Again, it could still turn around right here. Made it all the way back to the New York fair value gap. It would have to create a 5M bearish fair value gap first. About 8 minutes left. I'm not sure we're going to get that set up here. Still a whole bunch of nothing. So that's pretty much the story of all the indices today. That's why we were avoiding them, mostly just watching oil, which didn't move at all. But yeah, as mentioned before, we had a bit of a mixed bag here. Originally it was a buy model, and then we manipulated up, took out the lows, but we had a double break. So we double broke up first before taking out the lows, which meant the market wanted to go up. Remember, a double break is the dealer revealing their hand, but at the same time, it turtled and swept out Asia lows before it wanted to go up. I don't believe there was a 15M fair value gap created anywhere here. Let me see. No, there was no 15M fair value gap here. Just one big one here. So it just bounced off of that. Let's see if oil moved at all. Nope. Still just stuck there. And Aussie New Zealand just broke the top here. As mentioned before, there's a 80% probability as soon as we have confirmation that the market will not break the other side of it. And then today I guess we're part of that 20%. But as mentioned before, seems to be the pattern of all the markets today. A dip down and then back up. So we'll conclude our session there. We'll be live again tomorrow. Keep in mind, this entire week might look like this. We have a lot of news. We have to proceed with caution. Tomorrow we'll be focused on oil again, and maybe some foreign pairs. But please check us out on fractaleffects.com. Make sure you hit that subscribe button, turn on your notifications if you haven't, so you know when we're live. We'll see you guys tomorrow. Take care.